Can the Philadelphia Eagles win their third straight NFC East title this year?
I'm gonna put it as a no. You've checked the history of the division winners. Usually, it's all around the place. Recently, it's been Washington, Dallas, and Philadelphia. New York hasn't really won one in a while. Even now, I wouldn't count them out because the competition's tight. And it's not that all the teams are bad, it's more that all of them are pretty decent. And it's hard to say who's going to win.
Yeah, so we're coming back here. We're jumping over to the NFC East now after wrapping up the AFC East, and starting with
The
the
Philadelphia
defending
Eagles.
champions, the Eagles, well, defending NFC East champion Eagles. And I think it's going to be an interesting year for the NFC East. Last year, the only team with a winning record. This year, I think it's going to be a lot more competitive.
Yeah,
I think everyone else has gotten better, so we're going to see some good games and some good competition there.
just gonna rip the band-aid off. They weren't that good last year. They had, they had a pretty good wide receiver room with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. They had Jalen Hurts, who was pretty solid last year, and just that offensive coordinator. It's like he didn't know how to like do anything. It was like he just like ripped his plays straight from Madden. It was like the worst offensive coordinator I've ever watched,
Mm,
and definitely up there. Um,
yeah, I wouldn't say the worst, but the offense definitely didn't live up to its potential.
I'll say the defense was definitely top five in my opinion, like that, like last season. Even with like that one game against LA early on, where they got that blocked field goal to win it, that was pretty big. But last year is in the past. This is going into next year.
Yeah, so I think last year was an interesting situation. I think there was a bit of a hangover from the year before. I think that they were so good, it was kind of hard to live up to the precedent that they set. So I think people had
They,
high
yeah,
expectations, and it just didn't quite fulfill that.
when
Uh,
you win the Super Bowl, people expect you to stay on top of the league for a while. Like they expect you, like they expect you to be really good. Like they don't need to be the best. They don't need to win the Super Bowl all the time. They just expect you to make the playoffs.
yeah,
Like if you win the
and
Super Bowl, you're expected to make the playoffs the next
and they
season
did.
at least.
Yeah, and they did. I mean, they put up 40. They beat the Chiefs. I mean, that was a really impressive showing. Barkley had such a dominant run, putting up 2,000 yards. Last year, it just seemed like things were off, like the timing wasn't there, like the things that kind of went their way before just didn't.
Yeah,
And uh, they made some changes. So
yeah.
new offensive coordinator, AJ Brown is gone. And is this a case of addition through subtraction?
I honestly, I think they're gonna get better. I am not the biggest Jalen Hurts fan. I feel like he's around maybe top 12 in quarterbacks. I don't like him very much, but I do know he's pretty solid. My biggest thing with him is he doesn't have the biggest arm. Like he can't throw very far, and it's a weakness, I'd say. I think they're gonna be better. I think Jalen Hurts is gonna take that step forward. I think Saquon's gonna stay as good as he is. And we had that top 10 running back ranking, and we
Hmm.
put him in the like around the top 5. Like we both believe in him. Um, and then with the wide receiver room, they got rid of A.J. Brown, which honestly, in my opinion, is the good move. He wasn't performing to the best level, and honestly, I've always thought of Smith as the wide receiver one. I mean, he's a Heisman winner.
Hmm.
Like he deserves that number one spot, and I would put him as my like last year and all the years before. He is the best wide receiver too, in my opinion. Like he is always performing highly.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely a number one wide receiver.
But they got rid of AJ Brown and they just got some new ones. Like they got Hollywood Brown from the Chiefs, which was a big addition in my opinion. And they also got Dontavion Wicks, is that his name?
Yeah,
So that's big. And then from the draft, they got Makai Lemon, and he was pretty good in USC, I think.
yeah.
Um, so their wide receiver room got revamped, and these guys, they're all good. Like I would expect a lot from this receiver room. It looks like there's a lot going for them, especially with like signing Andy Dalton as well. He can help Hurts, and he's got that. I don't know. Andy Dalton, he's just got that kind of nice guy feeling around him. Like he just seems like a good person.
Yeah, so a couple things there. You bring in Sean Mannion, who really, um, I think, was one of the key parts to the success of the Packers passing game.
They've always,
One
the
of the
Packers have had a distinct thing in their history that they are like, they have such good QBs.
and one of the things about their offense is it wasn't focused around one wide receiver.
Yeah,
Like you saw, that they would go out there and there'd be four wide receivers, two tight ends, two running backs. Like Love really passed it around.
yeah,
And I think that, Mannion coming in, I think he can help the Eagles offense. I don't think it was going to be an improvement with Brown with the style that they want to play. So I think if you let him move on just to a better environment, I think he's got all the talent, but it just wasn't the best fit. So I think you get um, Hurts, other wide receivers that are going to be more team players.
yeah,
Devontae Smith could be the number one. Lemon can find his role without having a lot of pressure on him. Even though the Philadelphia fans will put pressure on him. You have Wicks, who I think is a good end zone target. He's a
yeah.
guy that Mannion's familiar with, so he's going to find a role. Hollywood Brown, maybe he's in the twilight of his career, but maybe he could still make some
I,
some key plays.
if I could put these guys, I'd put Smith wide receiver one, Wicks two, Brown three, Lemon four. So I wouldn't expect a lot from Lemon, but I would give him more reps than wide receiver fours usually get. I'd give him a few just around.
I would flip him and Brown.
I
I
feel like Brown's got a lot to offer. Like he had that one game where he was basically the wide receiver one with like Rice and Worthy out for a while. He definitely put up some numbers. He was looking good.
Yeah, I think it's past his peak. So I'd keep him at
Maybe.
four, but I think he could still add a little bit. I wouldn't plan around him though. But yeah, you mentioned Hurts too. I see him. Neither of us had him in our top 10. I think
Nope.
he's a solid guy that's not really going to make mistakes and cost you games. But I think,
He's not
y-
he's not gonna cost you games, but he's definitely not gonna be the sole factor that you win them.
yeah, I think his success is, more with the offense that works with the offense as a whole. But yeah, so I think to sum it up, I think we're going to see an improved offense. The passing is going to be better, and it's going to be spread around a lot more. I still think Goddard is their best, tight end option. I don't see much else in that
Yeah.
room that I'm familiar with. Um, but I think Mannion will help. I think Hurts will do better, and the wide receivers will, and Barkley will do about the same. So
Yeah.
I think that we can be confident in that. So if we look at the defense, how do you feel on that side of things?
So last year they had like an elite defense. Like they were that defense really made every game close. I mean, the offensive coordinator, he really was like really making sure they wouldn't win, but that defense kept them in nearly every game. And I think they only allowed like 30 plus points like one game. Um, but yeah, I really trust that defense. I feel like they're going to take a tiny step back. I feel like they're going to go from a top 5 to a top 10. Just it's hard cuz this is such like stuff a lot's going on with defense recently and there are just so many elite defenses like like the Seattle, Denver. I would even put like San Francisco on there. Like there are so many elite defenses right now that we're just gonna have to see. But I would still put Philadelphia as one of the best ones.
Yeah, I think the Eagles, they still will have top 10 defense.
Yeah.
I think they've got a lot of young players who are still going to be a force for the team. You know, Jalen Carter, what he does really controls the line. Like he's a dominant force there. Mitchell, DeJohn Cooper, you know, those guys really solidify the
Cooper to
secondary.
Gene.
Yeah, there's you know, just so much. I think that it hurt last year to lose Josh Sweat,
Yeah.
but I think that they're moving past him and really um, cementing their pass rush and making sure that that is still solid too. So I think it's going to be a defense that keeps them in every game. So I think that's going to continue to be the case here. Um, so I think improved offense, solid defense, definitely a team that 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 no one's going to look forward to facing.
So, um, I'm gonna ask you, what is your schedule like? What is your record prediction for them?
Yeah, so that's what I think what we wanted to look at last is just, you know, how it will come out with the schedule that they have. And it's not an easy schedule. So
No
I
matter what NFL says, not a top 10 easiest schedule in the league.
yeah, I think I saw that too, but I don't really share that opinion. And I think it starts with the division. I think that we're just to start out with, you're gonna see a Cowboys team that's gonna be competing for the division, a Commanders team that, you know, if Daniels is healthy,
Yeah, they're
uh,
trying to come back into the picture.
yeah, I think if he's healthy, that makes them such a different team. And
The
the
Giants are they definitely have a chance.
yeah, I think if as far as change, they could change the most this year. This could be the most different team.
Hopefully
Uh,
Harbaugh gets them in check. Before, we're not on the Giants episode yet, but
mhm.
really hoping that Harbaugh gets these lunatics in check because Dart, if he wants to be the franchise QB, he can't just be diving like that,
Right. And
risking
but like you
everything.
said, they're not the focus this
Yeah,
week, but all those teams are gonna be better, and that's 6 games right there for
yeah,
the Eagles. So, you know, maybe you sweep the Commanders, maybe you sweep the Giants, but I don't think you come out better than 4-2, maybe 3-3, you know.
yeah.
Uh, there's some games like you play the Titans, you play the Panthers, you play the Colts, the Steelers. You know, those should be some winnable games.
Like
Uh,
last year, they started 4-0. They were like at that point, they were one of the only two teams that were undefeated. But
mhm,
they really had a falling off after that.
yeah, and they may jump out to 2-0, but I think they play the Bears, they play the Rams, they play the Jaguars 3 weeks in a row, so that's not going to be easy. They also are going to play. I think the Cardinals, that's probably an easier one for them. They play the Seahawks, they play the Texans, the 49ers. So you get the NFC West. So that's 3 tough games and one you should win, right?
Yeah,
You get the NFC North. Well, did they get that, or is it just the Bears they play?
just the Bears.
I saw they play
They
the
play the South.
Bears.
They play the Colts, Texans,
So as far
Jaguars,
But as
and
far as playing
yeah,
the NFC
Titans.
North, you get one of the toughest ones with the Bears. So I think that's tough. Then the AFC, I mean, it's kind of split as far as you get the Jaguars and the Texans, which are tough ones. Colts, I think, kind of depends on Daniel Jones' health, and the Titans, you know, they're going to be improved, but I think getting them early in the league, that the Titans, they're going to be one of those teams that grows throughout the year. So this is definitely one of the better places to have them on the schedule is week 2. So I think that all said, I think this is a team that wins about 11 games.
Yeah, I feel like personally I'd put them between the 8 and 11 range. I wouldn't expect them to get 8 wins, but I wouldn't be surprised.
So you okay, but where do you fall on it though?
Probably around 9, 10.
Gotcha.
I feel like
Okay.
that's where they'll
So you
finish.
so I think that given 11 wins, I think they've got about a 50% chance to win the division. The other teams collectively have about a 50% chance. So about a coin flip, but I think they're my favorite to win. How do you feel? Do you think they win the division?
No.
No. All right. So I think that's what we've got this week for the Eagles. Improved offense, new offensive coordinator, still going to have a solid defense. It's going to be a competitive team, but a harder division. So we'll see how that comes out
Yeah.
for them this year.
And that's just the start of the NFC East for us. So if you want to keep seeing that, we will keep uploading some more.
Yeah, keep watching us here, Weeks Goal Line Report. We'll continue that. We've got a few other series we're working on too, so like, subscribe, and check us out.